R2 the dog. I ain't even been feeling like doing this. But let's get it. Yeah. It's probably the real level up. BIP Red Dog 1.
The O is for the 16 ounces that's in the whole pound. They really out here feeling my music. Shout out the whole town. K is for the killers I know who keep the 4 pound. You give an inch, he taking the mile like it was 4th down. The L is for the ladies for sure. I mean the real ones who out here working hard for the.
What's up, world? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy R2, and we back with another banger, you know what I'm saying? So grab your popcorn and your cold drink and go on over there and hit that like button. Then hit that subscribe button. After that, hit that bell so when I drop these bangers, you be one of the first ones to put your eyes on it. You know what I'm talking about? What's happening? What's happening, man? Hey, what's good, y'all? I just want to say appreciate the supporters, man. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. Y'all been on my head about the fact that the Idaho killings was not done. Dude was not, Brian Koberger was not the DoorDash driver. My bad, my mistake. Y'all on my head about that. Hey, bruh, get off my head about that little detail. You understand? Y'all, you go back and watch the video. You understand? I was saying words like I think he could be the DoorDash driver, you know what I mean? Or it was speculation that he was the DoorDash driver, but let's be honest. He did all that in the midst of the DoorDash food being delivered. You feel me? So that's how, that's where the DoorDash part came from. So get off my head about that, man, before I get on y'all bumper in them comments, bruh. Hey, but like I said, I will not be doing no arguing or going back and forth with nobody in the comment. I think I slid in the comments and replied to the person who commented. I don't remember their name, but somebody kept it real respectful and was like, hey bro, check, you know what I mean? You kind of got it mixed up right there. But man, I produced 30-minute videos. That little detail was not the only detail in the video. So, you know what I mean? Just take what you can, take what you will, you dig, and get rid of the rest. You feel me? Like I said, man, we're gonna run the content how it was gave to us. You understand? And just to show y'all that I do check into the comments, man. Today is story time. You understand? Yeah, we out here with story time, a personal experience of mine. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, man, we back. We gonna mix it up a little bit. You understand? Like I say, man, I don't got millions and millions and millions of prison stories that I can get on here and talk about. Listen, I had it my way in the joint. You understand? I kept a phone, kept a bag, kept it gangster. You know what I mean? I kept it whooping always. You understand? I am a damu. You know what I mean? But I've transitioned in life, man. I'm on to bigger and better things. We doing bigger things. We got a podcast cracking. You understand me? This is my thing. This is what I do. You understand? So if you see me on here, talking about different stories and reporting different little stories, hey man, I'm turning a new leaf, bro. You know what I mean? Because the streets is not where it's at. Let's just be honest. Ain't nobody ever put back a 401k plan from the streets. Ain't nobody ever been successful at being a street nigga. You know what I mean? It's just not possible. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's 2025, bro. And I can't be out here encouraging my little bros and my young lives to do better, and I'm still pushing the same agenda. It wouldn't make sense. That's a catch-22. You dig? So that don't make sense. And plus, when you out here living, man, you want to, being that I've done 10 years in the penitentiary, I'm not trying to go backwards. I'm trying to stay forward. You understand? I'm trying to elevate. That's 10 summers, that's 10 winters that I missed, that's 10 birthdays that I missed, that's 10 years of grinding that I could have been out here doing, but I was in the penitentiary. You understand? For some mistakes that I made, and it's nobody's fault but mine. You understand? But at some point, we got to take accountability, and I've always taken accountability for my mistakes. It's never nobody's fault when I get in trouble. It's my fault. That's why I don't do crowds. That's why I don't hang with people. I don't do, I don't do large crowds or groups of people. I don't click up. You understand? Anytime I ever got busy or went and did something or went and got active or went and, got a bag, it was by myself. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not with that clicking up or ganging up type of deal. I deal with one solid group of individuals, and that's my brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? These my partners. These my real these my real thugs, you know what I mean? Like, we all on the bench right now. But if something was to ever happen to one of us, you know, we coming off the bench for surely. You understand? But God forbid anything ever happened to any of my guys, you know what I mean? Because we all got, you know, we all got something to lose out here. We're not out here, you know what I mean, chasing clout. We're not out here crashing out. You understand? Because it's easy to crash out. It's more difficult. It's more of a struggle. It's more of a fight to live a positive life, man. To be out here trying to get chicken for you and your family, nigga, to try to get bread for you and your family, to put us in a wealthy, you know, position. I tell the homies all the time, like, look, bro, turn around and look at all your homies, you know what I mean? From all sides, you know what I mean? Look at your homies, bro. Who can show you some money? Who can show you 1,000? Who can show you 10,000? Who can show you 50,000? Who can show you 100,000? Who can show you 1,000,000 liquid assets? Nobody. You understand? So with that being said, we got to change our mindset, because if we don't, we're going to end up in the same cycle. You're going to end up at the end of your life, and you're going to be broke. You're going to be broke with nothing to, nothing to show for your whole lifespan. What did you do? What did you accomplish? You understand? So that's what I'm out here, man. I'm trying to make my footprint on the world, and I'm trying to leave a legacy behind. You know what I mean? When I'm gone, my videos, my content, my positive message is going to live on. You understand? This is here to stay. You feel me? So we finna get to story time, y'all. You know, I just had to get mine off real quick. You understand? Pause. You feel me? But it's like, yeah, bro, you know what I mean? We can't keep condoning the bull crap and expecting, things to change for our people. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. You know what I mean? You can't pray for better days, and when you get the better days, you keep doing the things that led you down to them dark days. You feel me? So it's like, yeah, that's technically insanity. You understand? To be, to want different, but to continue to repeat the same actions. You understand? And as black men, as grown-ups, as adults, as black kings, man, we got to start taking accountability for the things that we do in life and the shortcomings that we have, because it's majority our fault, if not 100% our fault. You know what I mean? I know some people were dealt bad hands in life, but don't let that be the reason that just decide to give up on yourself. Don't let that be the reason that you don't reach your potential because of you was dealt a bad deck of cards, you know what I mean? Or dealt a bad hand. You feel me? Everybody got willpower, and God gave us all a choice. And you can choose to lay down and take what life got for you, or you can get out there and fight. And me, I'm gonna get in the ring. You know what I mean? I got to get in the ring, because that's why I chose to do this content thing, because it's like I had to sit and really have an epiphany with myself and tell myself, like, look, if you can't complain about not being rich. If God gave you this talent to sit here and speak articulately and come up with different ways to reach different people and come up with these stories and come up with these scenarios and be able to put it on camera and be able to have a PC and be able to have monitors and microphones and things of that nature and lights and all of this stuff, and be able to have the smarts that you need to know to be able to get on these OBS softwares and use these different tools to be able to reach other people. If God gave you all this talent and all of this, drive to do these things in fun, and you want to be rich, and this is the very thing that could get you rich and get you wealthy and be able to and help you be able to facilitate those goals that you really want, to be able to put your mama up and pay her mortgage off and be able to hand her $50,000 in life. This is what's gonna get it for you. So if you can't dedicate 90 days of your life to this right here and see what you looking at after that 90 days, hence the 90-day content run that we on. I thank y'all for supporting that. But if you can't do that for 90 days and discipline yourself to muster up enough energy to get on here and do these episodes once a day for 90 days. I had an epiphany with myself. I told myself, if you can't do that, then you don't deserve to be rich. You feel me? And yet, here we are. So, like I said, man, today is story time. You know what I mean? A lot of people been asking me, when we gonna get back to the stories? Man, y'all nosy, y'all messy, y'all just wanna, here's some mess. So I got a bunch of mess for y'all today. So yeah, man, we locked in. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, let's jump right into it now. This story right here is gonna go back to about 2008, 7-ish. You understand? A crazy time, wild time, you know what I mean? And like I say, when we always talk about these stories, man, we're gonna keep it 100. We're gonna keep it authentic, and I don't do no lying, I don't do no fabricating or none of that. You understand? And um, it's always a lesson that can be learned from these situations. So I hope the young people paying attention and just like I said, when I get on here and talk, take from it what you will, man. What you won't, just throw the rest away. You dig? But it's always gonna be some news that you can use right here on this podcast, man, for sure. So yeah, man, like I said, we're going back to 2008, 2007 area. This is when I was in the streets heavy. You know what I mean? I'm gang banging. I'm selling dope. You know what I mean? I think I'm this. I think I'm that. You feel me? So I used to stay in an area, man, a crazy area, 10th and MacArthur. That's a crazy area, especially back in the day. Now, not so much. You know what I mean? But back in the day, it's a heavy Crip area. You understand? But me personally, I never really had no problems out of the Crips in the area. You understand? I'm from the north side, but, I lived on the west side, and that's just what it was. You know what I mean? I never really had no issues on the west side like that. Like I said, a couple of my stories come from the west side, and, especially about the time when I got into it with the homie and he robbed me at knife point, basically, you know what I mean, when I was going off Sherm, you understand, basically took advantage of me in the situation, took advantage of the situation. But, we later on end up getting back, we got down, blase, whatever. But, yeah, the West Side, man, it was a kind of a dangerous, treacherous part of town back then because, like I said, man, it's Crip territory and neighborhood Crips at that. You understand? That's a side of town that they was frequent and heavy back then. You know what I mean? But me being a real dude, I carry myself with a different aura. You understand me? I lead with respect. You understand? Even when I was out here active, if you wasn't directly, a op or somebody that I'm tripping with, you're not gonna get no disrespectfulness from me. You know what I mean? Just off being somebody that's from the other side. You understand? Now, have I banged on people for no reason? Of course. You know what I mean? But this is not one of them times, and this ain't really a gangbang story. You understand? But I'm just putting it in perspective of the area that I stayed in the time frame. You understand? So we're on the west side of town. Now, I got a partner, you know what I mean, that's from Red Mile, from Tulsa. Shout out to 918. Hey, I had a person comment, and they was like, man, when you gonna shout out to 918? Here's y'all shot, man. Shout out to the 918 Tulsa. It's always love. I got brothers from Tulsa that I love. Red Mile Gangsters, the 311s, the 5 trays, the 4-7s, even some of the Hoovers out there, man. I got love for some partners out there. Shout out to my boy Trouble Crip for surely. That's my guy, Westside 23 Tulsa. If you know him, shout him out. That's my boy. If you ain't wrote him in a minute, he got a lot of time. If you ain't wrote him in a minute, man, make sure you put that pen to the pad, man, and get that man some letters, get him some commissary and all that. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to the Red Mob homies, Whoop Gang. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, I love you boys, man. All my partners, I got some real partners from Tulsa. You understand? And one of them is my partner Meezy, man. It's my big bro. Shouts out to my big bro. Now, when I first met Meezy, you know what I mean, he pulled up. He was posted up on the block. Matter of fact, he was on the Deuce block, posted up on the north. You know what I mean, just posted up. And what drew me to him, because I was a young artist, man. I came up. I've been doing music since I was, fifth, fourth, that kind of grade, third, fourth grade. You know what I mean? I was always musically inclined, man. As a youngin', I was playing with vinyl records, messing up my mama's vinyl records, trying to scratch them and listening to the music. And it was just always interesting how you could put that little needle down and that beautiful music come out. You understand? But anyway, my partner Meezy, that's how we met, because he was posted up on the block, but he was from Red Mob, you understand? So he kind of out of bounds, you know what I mean? It's not every day that you bump into a Red Mob, a Red Mob gangster in Oklahoma City, you know what I'm saying? So he was posted up in the hood. Now he was getting his dope off, but I didn't know this at the time. I'm just meeting this cat, you understand? But, he had this is the first person I ever seen with his own CD, pressed up, copies of it, album cover and everything. You know what I mean? It wasn't professional, super professional, but it was more than what I had seen at the time. So it piqued my interest. I checked his album out. He had a video with it and everything. It was called Jealousy and Envy. Shouts out to my nigga Meezy. Love you, big bro. You know what I mean? We done got countless hours of thugging in. You know what I mean? But, I love you, big bro. Anyway, so, this is the partner, this story it surrounds him. This is my guy. You know what I mean? So later on, fast forward, you know, he get in the bag. You know, me and him is bros now. You know, we got real tight. You know what I mean? Because we started making music together. We started selling dope together. This who taught me how to cook dope. You know what I mean? This who taught me how to really hustle. You know what I'm saying? This who taught me how to double my money. And this is a person who was, you know, busting the major move, and I'm just a part of it. You know what I mean? Like he'll go get a whip or two, and you know he'll sell me a quack or a half or something. You know what I mean? And let me do my thing. You feel me? So yeah, he gave me the dope game. You know what I mean? So fast forward in life, you know, we in 2007, 8 area. We probably been kicking it about a year, a strong year at this time. You know what I mean? So I got another partner, which is a homegirl. You understand? She from Outlaw Dubs, you know what I'm saying? Outlaw 20s, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to the homegirl, you know what I mean? She from Outlaw 20s. So, you know, she stay on my side of town, you know what I mean? So when I'm on my side of town, which is the West, I bump into her frequently. You understand? When I'm getting my little issue off, we frequent the same spots. You understand? Because back then, 10th Street was a man, it was $1 million spot. You know what I mean? But you had to be careful because the undercovers would ride through there and be on bull. You know what I'm saying? I had an undercover approach me one day like, hey, he was in a silver hatchback. What'd you call them? Not a Charger, but it looked like a Charger, but it's the hatchback kind. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Dodge. You feel me? He in one of those, gray with black tint. It's a white boy. You know what I mean? He's let his window down. I'm walking down the street. You know, I'm walking down 10th on my way back to the apartments, and he, you know, pulled up into the Red Dog Cafe. Everybody from Oklahoma City know about the Red Dog Cafe. You feel me? He pulled up into the Red Dog Cafe, and he let his window down like, hey, bro, you know where I can get some crack? I'm like, what? Rule number 1, bro. Don't ever say that word to me. You understand? Don't ever say the word crack. Don't ever say the word meth. Don't ever say the word, you know, back in my hustling days. You got to call it something else. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he would have been like, you know where to get some work or something like that, he probably would have got me, maybe. But just how he pulled up, white boy, you know, asking about drugs, never. You know, I cussed him out, you know, probably spit on his car or whatever, you know, and he got on, you know what I'm saying? But just the kind of area I'm in, you understand what I'm saying? So I bumps into the homegirl all the time through here, you know what I mean? So one day I bump into her, and I'm with the other homie from Outlaw Dubs. This my guy. We kick it a lot, you know what I mean, on this side of town. You know what I'm saying? So you know how small the world is, man. The world's small. So I'm kicking it with the homie one day, and the homegirl, you know, we end up kicking it with her too. So she with us too. And she like, hey, Red Dog, you know where to get some work? I'm like, yeah, the big bro got the work. You understand? So she like, okay, well, you know, set it up. So, you know, I call big bro. This is part of my job. This is my big bro. He showed me a lot in this game, and he owned at the time. So any kind of money that I run into that I can't handle, I'm gonna bring it to him, you know, because I'm selling rocks. I ain't selling weight. You dig? I'm a youngin', you feel me? I'm still kind of green, but I think I know it all. You feel me? So I hit big bro like, hey, the homegirl, she want a whoop-de-whoop. You feel me? It's good. You know what I'm saying? He like, bet. I'm going to meet y'all. You know, we met on probably like 15th or something. You know, 15th off the highway. Because at that time, he was getting it in heavy on the south. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, he stayed on the south, but he'd come to the north and get it in. Or he'd be out the way, you know what I mean? Probably in the next few towns over or something, you feel me? But he did a lot of moving around, you feel me? But, you know, anytime I call, he gonna lock in, you understand? So I hit him, and, you know, he like, bet. You know, so we meet at the store. She give me the money, and this is kind of where I messed up. I should have just let them meet each other. You feel me? Let them meet each other. But the big bro, you know, he was kind of skeptical. Anybody who got the bag and they selling weight, bro, they don't really want to meet all your friends, all your plays. They don't want to meet them because the more people that they meet, you know, that's potentially could get them in some trouble if who you know, introducing them to just so happen to be the police. This ain't the case, but, you know, you never know. And especially when you get in the bag, dudes is paranoid. When you hustling in these streets, I've been that way myself. You know what I mean? When you get to a certain level of hustling, you get paranoid. And you're supposed to be paranoid because the one wrong slip, you're out of there. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not condoning hustling by any means, but if you still out there in them streets and you still getting it for 17.5 and you still think you Mr. Snowman and you still getting it in, hey man, you know, all money ain't good money, and that's the best way to spend that. All money ain't good money, you know what I'm saying? So stay paranoid, you know what I mean? But, you know, continue with the story. So, you know, I hooked him up. You know, well, she give me the money. I jump in the car with bro. So boom, I jump in the car with bro. Boom, you know, he like, yeah, here you go, whoop. I get the whoop, put it right in my, you know what I mean? Give him the bread, you know what I mean? He give me a little something, you know what I'm saying? Just to, you know what I mean? Like, here, bro, that's for you. Just, you know, you don't even worry about it. Just for bringing me, you know what I'm saying? He blessed me with a little something. So I put my little issue, swoop, pocket my little issue. So I tell him, all right, bet, I love you, big bro, whoop, whoop gang, whoop, and jump out and get in the vehicle. And we smash back, you know, I give her issue and we go straight to the APT, to the homie's APT. Now, let's document. This is my homie's apartment that we going to, bro. This is one of my other bros. You know what I'm saying? But me and this dude end up getting into it later on in life, well, which is the situation. Same dude tried to rob me with the knife. You know what I mean? Well, did rob me with the knife. Took advantage of me while I was, you know, spent out on that sherm. You understand? But that's at a later time. This is before all that ever happened. You understand? So we kicking it. You know, I'm with this dude every day. You know, we doing whatever. We kicking doors down. We selling dope. We gang banging. We doing it all. You understand? This my crimey right here. We ain't never been on no case together, but this my crimey right here. You know what I'm saying? This like when I'm on this side of town, on my west side of town, and I'm over here posted, and I ain't, you know, and I ain't got nowhere to go. I ain't got no car at the time, so I'm walking these streets. If a bride wasn't picking me up back in the day, taking me to the one or taking me to the hood on the north, you know, taking me anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Broads was picking me up, taking me places back then. When I was 18, 19, 17, yeah, you know, it's a broad gonna drive wherever I'm going. You feel me? Because 9 times out of 10, I got a pistol on me. You know what I mean? I got drugs on me. I ain't, you know, I don't need to be driving no way. You feel me? So this is my crimey when I'm out here on the West, you know what I'm saying, at my crib, you know what I'm saying? And my rent wasn't nothing but $17. I had a little HUD housing crib, you know, $17. All you got to do is basically pay the electric bill. And if you go to the DHS office right up the street, they'll pay it for you, you know what I'm saying, in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? They used to do stuff like that. So I'm young. I'm taking advantage of all of that. You feel me? So yeah. So we get back to the homie's apartment and she go to cooking her work. Now, she done busted a couple lines down, you know, just to, you know, hit the lines or whatever, well, just to see what the coke like, you feel me? So now, mind you, back in the day, it was a time where it was a such thing called snorting powder, and it was stuff, you know, powder that you cook. Now, for the people who may be confused right now, if you was in the Oklahoma City area, or if you from the streets at all, and if you was around back in the day, they had something called snorting powder and something called, you feel me, cooking powder. And so she's cooking this, she's on the stove with it. Now, mind you, I know how to cook dope in the microwave. I was taught in the microwave. It's a total different ball game because the heat is different. You understand? When you got that open flame and you using it on the stove, I don't know nothing about that. Me personally, I'm gonna keep it gangster. You know what I'm saying? My nigga who showed me how to whip, showed me in the microwave, and it don't take nothing but about 30, 45 seconds. You understand me? And I'm talking about straight dropper, straight proper dropper. You understand? Cookies. You dig? Now, she's doing it on the stove. I'm not really paying her no attention. Me and the homie, we chopping it up. You know what I mean? We didn't hit a couple lines. Yes, I hit a line of cocaine. I used to hit lines of cocaine all the time when I was young. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I done been damn near done it all except for crack. You feel me? Meth. I don't fool around. But like I said, I didn't hit me a line. You know what I'm saying? So we sitting there chopping it. We talking. Anybody know you hit a line, you finna do some talking. You ain't finna be, you know what I mean? So she over here, you know, she's doing what she's doing. I'm thinking it's good. You understand? I'm thinking she good. But after about 30 minutes, you know, I'm noticing it's kind of taking her a minute. She didn't buy nothing but like a half. So she should have been done by now. But what she's doing is she trying to bring it back. She's trying to bring it back because it ain't locking up. But see, I'm still kind of green because she instantly, she start, saying like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up with this? Call your homie back. This ain't right. I'm like, how it ain't right? We just did some lines of it. You know what I'm saying? Now at the time I ain't hip to the snorting powder and the cooking powder. And I don't think she specified. I don't even think I specified to her to the older homie what her intentions was on, getting the coke. I think maybe he thought she was fit to go do some snorting and she wasn't fit to get in the kitchen, but she was trying to get in the kitchen. You understand? So, you know how it goes. She like, man, call your partner. So I called my partner. I called bro. I'm like, hey, bro, hey, man, here, talk to her. You know what I'm saying? And his response was, man, no, that was right. Woo, woo, woo. So now I'm in a position to where I didn't set this up. Big bro saying, he did what he was supposed to do. She's saying, no, you ain't did what you supposed to do. Look, she like, your homie right here with me. We trying to, and I don't know nothing about the stove, gang. So I'm kind of looking, I'm kind of looking lost. You understand? So I don't know nothing about the stove. All I know is the microwave. It shouldn't be taking this long is what I'm thinking in my mind. But she's getting more mad because she thinking that I done had something to do with him giving her the wrong kind of powder or whatever. I ain't knowing that it's more than one kind of powder. I'm thinking that it's all one, it's all the same, right? But what it is some people put they cut on it, man. They put their cut on it to stretch it, because people that snort, they ain't cooking rocks. You understand? So it don't got to jump back for them. It's going straight up their nose. You know what I'm saying? And if you mix a little this, and then the third with the powder, give it to him, he snorted, he still get the drain. He don't give a damn what's in there. That's why after this, I never got no more powder from anybody unless it was hard as a rock. I don't want no powder. When I was hustling, when I came into my own as far as hustling and I started copping my own way, start doing my own thing, I did not want no powder that wasn't rock hard. Real powder, real good powder, be solid as a rock. And it be hard to bust down. You understand? And you can't even put your nose to the bag because it's so strong. It's like it's that. I think that's that ether in there. You know what I'm saying? It's like a strong, like, you know how alcohol hits your nose? It's like a strong, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? So now she feeling some kind of way, and the homie, he feeling like he done did right. So I'm stuck. I done hooked her up with the homie. I done vouched for him. You know what I'm saying? So here we are in a situation, man. Now she's upset. And then the homie house who we at, this how weird it got, bro. This how weird it got. They go in the back room and they talking amongst themselves because they both from Outlaw 20s. Let's start there. They both from Outlaw 20s. I'm from Broadway. You know what I'm saying? I'm the odd man out here. I done hooked them up with somebody who sold them some bull crap powder. You understand me? So now she thinking I did something. They go in the back room and she whispers something to him and he whisper back, and all of a sudden now he's saying it's time to go to bed for him and his kids, that we got to find us somewhere to go. So basically he putting us out. Now it's like, I'm like, well, whatever, you know what I mean? So I push. I'm about to walk back to my house, back towards 10th Street. We on 16th. We ain't nothing but a few blocks away from my crib. You know what I mean? So I'm walking to my crib and she like, hey, where you going? She like, I'm going with you. I'm like, it's whatever, you know what I mean? But I ain't got nothing to do with that. You feel me? You asked me if I knew where some powder was, and I turned you on to who I knew. You feel me? And you see I called him back right there, bro. So it's like it ain't no weird stuff on my end. You feel me? Now, what she did next, was kind of crazy because we in an alley, like in some apartments with like real dark lighting, you know what I'm saying? So it's very little lighting, but I caught a glimpse of her pulling something out of her purse and I already knew what she was on. She was finna try to pop me down, you know what I'm saying? She had like a little 25 or a deuce or something, you know what I'm saying? So me being smart and not dumb, I hit a couple corners real quick, not like a run, but a quick jog, like boom, boom, boom. I ducked in and out real quick. And got behind the trash can and hid for a second. Got on my phone, called the other homie from Outlaw 20s, like, hey, blood, hey, this weirdo, she on some bull, she trying to smoke a nigga over, you know what I mean? I ran the story down to him. I'm like, matter of fact, man, just pull up, come get me, man. I'm over here behind the trash can in these apartments, woo, and bring me a strap. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't think the homie ever came because I ended up making it back to my apartments, but I was just like tired of waiting on him. So I did what I know best, got on foot. I'm an on foot demon. You know what I mean? Before I was driving a car, I was on foot everywhere. You understand me? So, and I knew the West Side pretty good. So I hit a couple alleys, hit a couple fences, and boom, I'm back in my apartments. You understand what I'm saying? And she calls my phone like, hey, bro, what you tripping for? Where you go? I ain't trying to do nothing to you, bro. I'm like, listen, little mama, you a street broad. I'm a street dude. I already know what time it is. I'm like, but you messed up and let me get away from you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm strapped down now, and if you pull up on me, just know what time it is. You feel me? I'm gonna air you out. I ain't gonna do no talking to you because I already know what you on. You thinking I done played games with you when really I just tried to help you out when you asked me if I knew where some work was at. You understand me? So that situation never turned into nothing. You know, she never pulled up or anything like that. I guess she understood after I told her what I told her, because I went hard on her. I'm like, look, on Bloods, you messed up letting me get to my strap. So if you try to run up on me any kind of way, anywhere, I'm gonna blow you down, and I'm gonna worry about it later. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, she apologized. We never, I don't even think we bumped into each other again. You know what I'm saying? That's just how God worked. And, so a lesson that I learned from that story right there, almost losing my life or getting shot up over hooking somebody else up with something. So the next time somebody asks you if you know where something is at, tell them, hell no, you get it yourself. You understand me? You let people do their own dealings. That way they got to deal with their own problems when stuff go wrong. Because if you the middleman and something happens to where this ain't right or this ain't right, they going to be looking to you, especially if you hooked them up with the person. You understand? So, and logically, you can kind of see where they coming from for them to look at you like it's your fault. But hey, man, you know what I mean? You when you get in the dope game, that's the chance you take, getting dope from somebody. You should have inspected it and seen from the rip that it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna look at it and check. If it's too shaky, if it ain't rocked up, I don't want it, period. You know what I'm saying? So, that's just the chances you take. But hey, man, young people, don't mess with drugs, period. But if you is out here hustling, man, watch who you putting in the mix and who you middlemaning with, because it could turn around and bite you in the ass. You understand? Hey, man, that's all the time we got today. It's your boy R2. I'm gone, man. Peace, love, one. Appreciate all the supporters. We love y'all, man. Y'all the reason, y'all the fuel to this fire, man. Plus that bag. Don't get that wrong. But we gone, man. We out of here. One.